Hi there guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Bryndís and in today's video I want to do the quarter year crisis tag. Now I do think that the crisis is probably a overstatement for this tag. I do set myself reading goals every year, but if I don't meet them, it's okay. It's not something that I'm freaking out over for sure. But I love. I am just I'm goal oriented as a human being, and I like to kind of have some structure around my hobbies, and so that's why I set goals. I don't think you need to have any goals at all if you're reading, or even if you're on booktube. It's fine to just go with the flow, especially if you're a really like a mood reader. I do have periods where I want to just mood read, but I also seem to be able to, if I have a TBR, it's quite easy for me just to read what's on my TBR and still feel very happy and fulfilled with my reading. But anyway, so I'm going to do the quarter year crisis tag. The first question is, how many books have you read so far this year? And I have actually read 34 books. I read 10 books in January, 12 in February, and 12 in March. I feel like that is probably around what I would normally do in a year. I think I usually read between 8 and 12 books in a month. I think that would be very common. I've had a couple of years since I started tracking my reading that where I've read less, but 100 to 120 books a year is definitely a common occurrence for me. I do always set my goal on Goodreads as 52, just to put a number, because again, I don't have, it's not a goal of mine to read a certain amount of books, or a certain number of books. So I don't do it. It happens quite organically for me, or naturally. 34 books in the first 3 months. That's a lot for sure, but at the same time, I think it's very kind of in line with what I usually do. Question number 2 is, have you already found a book you think might be a 2024 favorite? If not, what was your favorite book that you read that wasn't quite 5 stars? I actually have several 5 stars. I'm gonna count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 5 stars already. I mean, you could argue that I'm quite generous with my 5 stars, but my rule is basically, if the book really speaks to me, it engages my emotions, I get completely carried away when I'm reading it and I want to read it again, for me that is a 5 star. It's not so much necessarily about whether it is super well written or anything. Or I think though usually I will not enjoy a book if it's not well written. So so I have quite a few 5 stars, and I think there are 3 of them that are kind of competing for the favorite of the year so far. This one is in my top 3 for sure at the moment. Good Omens. I love this book. It is just so fantastic. Then we have Jane Eyre, which was actually the first book that I read this year. And oh my God, I loved it as well. It was the first time ever for me to read it, and it was everything I had expected and more. So good. And then again, Middlemarch, which was a bit of a surprise for me, but it's just, I have a feeling that these two are going to be competing for the best book of the year. But yes, but so far, there are so many good books that I've read, and I think I have so many good books on my horizon. So yeah, it's been a really good reading year for me so far. Question 3 is, are any 1-star books or least favorite books so far? Yes, I have one 1-star book, which is Stranger in the House by Shari Le Pena. And then I DNF'd one book, this one, The Road Through Rushbury. Maybe I wasn't in the mood, I don't know, but it was not something for me. Perfect People by Peter James also was not. Those 3 are my way below, really bad. I really did not enjoy any of these books. And I do have several 3 stars that were okay. 3-star for me is kind of it's not bad, it just wasn't necessarily fantastic. 2 and 1 star, I rarely give books 1 or 2 stars because I will usually DNF them. But yeah, those were definitely not my favorite. Question number 4, my most read genre so far. And that would be classics. That is one of the goals for the year, was to read more classics. So I'm definitely doing that. The next number 2 on the list was nonfiction. I've read quite a few nonfiction. And then there would be literary fiction and thrillers. I'm quite surprised that I read so many literary fiction. I'm thinking maybe sometimes my categorization into genres isn't necessarily correct. I'm not sure. But yeah, classics are definitely my top read so far, and I'm really, really enjoying them. Really, really enjoying them. Question number 5, a book that surprised you. For me, it was Matilda. This was a 5-star read for me. I don't really know why I read it. I think it was because it was narrated by, was it Davina Porter? And it just kind of popped up on my audiobook app. And it's Mary Shelley. Obviously, I love Frankenstein. And so I just read it. And it just blew me away. It was so... And also because it's so literary, lyrical. It's almost like a long poem. And I didn't know that I would enjoy that. So it was surprising that I actually really enjoyed just how romantic and indulgent it is. So yeah, Matilda was definitely a big surprise for me. Question 6, a book that's come out in 2024 already that you want to read but haven't. No. To be honest with you, in general, I don't pay attention to new releases. I don't have nothing against them. It's just I have so many classics that I want to read and other things that I want to read that have already been published that I'm just kind of still there in that part of the world, that part of the reading world, that new releases kind of just skip by me for the most part. There is one book that was published in February, but I've already read it, and that is The Empire of the Damned. And perfect, so good. But other than that, I don't really, as I said, pay attention. I always, there is a book coming out in, I think, November, December, just before Christmas here in Iceland, that I always get for Christmas. So I look forward to that, but I don't know what the book is about yet. So I don't know if that counts, but in general, no, I'm more of a older book type of a reader. Question number 7. One goal you made that you're succeeding at. So here you can see my reading goals for the year. And I'm definitely succeeding at reading more classics. I am on point with reading the Bronte sisters. I'm reading one book a month. And this month, April, I'm finishing off Charlotte Bronte. The Victorian literature as well. I've been reading, George Eliot, Elizabeth Gaskell, Oscar Wilde, James Joyce, So I've definitely been reading some Victorian literature. And also with the Halldór Laxness project. I've been reading one book a month. I'm actually one book ahead. So I read 2 books one of the months. So for those goals, I'm definitely succeeding and doing very well. Question 8 is one goal you made you need to focus on. If you look at my goals here, I guess the one that I haven't really started to work on is to read some Russian literature. I definitely have been buying some books that fit that category, but I'm not stressed about it or worried about it. It's just, reading is my hobby, so I just do it for fun. But I would definitely like to get to reading. I haven't quite decided if I should go for Crime and Punishment or War and Peace. I haven't quite decided, but a lot of people I find have been reading War and Peace that I've been watching, and so I'm definitely very drawn to reading that for sure, but we'll see. I also still haven't read any fantasy by Brandon Sanderson, so and I've been kind of looking into what people are recommending, and it seems like most people recommend the Mistborn series, I think it's called, as a starting point into Brandon Sanderson. So I'm thinking that I may start there. But again, it's only April as I'm filming this, so I have time. There's no need to stress, because there is plenty of time, but also there is no need to stress because this is just fun and not like anything serious. So, but I definitely want to read Brandon Sanderson. I really like fantasy, and I feel like if you like fantasy, you should at least give him a try, because he is such a big name in the fantasy world. So, yeah. So that was my quarter-year crisis tag, although there is obviously no crisis going on here. And I'm very happy with my reading year, as I've already said, and I think that I'm doing pretty well. And the thing that I'm really enjoying, there are 2 things that I've really been enjoying so far this year, and one of them is the fact that I just seem to be reading so many good books, and because I keep reading good books, it makes me want to read more and more and more. So thankfully I have not had like several books in a row that have not been good, because I worry if that happens, that might like pull me into a reading slump. So that has not happened, thankfully. Crossing fingers, knock on wood. But I'm very happy about the fact that these books that I'm reading are just so good, or at least I am enjoying them so much. And another thing that I'm really enjoying about this year so far is booktube, and being able to actually talk about all the books that I'm reading with you guys. It's absolutely the best thing ever. I've really been missing it, because I don't really have anyone in my real life that reads the same that I read. I mean, there are a lot of readers around me, but they are not reading the type of books that I'm reading for the most part. So being able to make videos talking about books, even if sometimes, I don't get a lot of things I don't get a lot of comments usually, but still it feels like I'm having a conversation, even if it's just with myself into the camera. So that has been very enjoyable. So that's that's that. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you feel so inclined, please do make the tag and let me know. We still have time, even though it's, the quarter is past and gone. We're in the second quarter for sure, but who cares? Who cares? If you want to do the tag, go ahead and do it. But otherwise, I just want to thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.